Up next, connecting military spouses with potential employers. Welcome back to This Week in the Pentagon. They are skilled, diverse, and ready to work. The Defense Department says military spouses have a lot to offer potential employers, but often lack the connection to businesses and corporations because of the mobile military lifestyle. That, however, may soon change under a new program the DoD launched this week called the Military Spouse Employment Partnership. Being an Army wife made Andrea Hall a woman of many skills in the early years of her marriage.
And I've done everything from be a census taker to a test exam proctor to a mortgage assistant and even a prison guard.
But Ms. Hall's lengthy resume has more to do with the 7 times her husband has been relocated than her desire to try new things. Her work history is an example of the challenges military spouses face when it comes to having their own career.
Many spouses seeking jobs have been turned away, not for lack of qualification or training, but because their loved one's work requires them to move so much. Many have had to accept jobs for which they were overqualified.
Deborah Mullen, wife of Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Admiral Mike Mullen, says the problem is getting better, but she says much more work needs to be done. The latest step toward providing military spouses with support in developing their own career or finding work came this week in Washington, D.C., with the addition of 15 new companies to a program called the Military Spouse Employment Partnership.
Today can be and should be the beginning of a new and important chapter in the story of military spouse employment.
The program connects partnering companies and military spouses in an effort to create meaningful long-term employment opportunities for the spouses. One of those new partners is DaVita, which provides kidney care and has more than 1,600 locations nationwide.
We do have so many locations across the country. If someone gets transferred to a new location, it's highly likely that our footprint matches that of the military. And so we can work very hard to try and make sure that we can move folks to different parts of the country over time.
Staying with the same company when a service member is relocated would be very welcome news for most military spouses.
My career's changed about 3 different times. It's not something I wanted to do, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make for my husband and for his job. And I know that's a sacrifice that a lot of military spouses are willing to make.
Clifford Stanley, the Undersecretary of Defense for Personnel and Readiness, says taking care of military spouses is a higher priority than when he was a Marine.
This didn't exist. There wasn't this kind of thing. And so we had to learn early about managing those funds because I wasn't sure that job was going to be there on the next duty assignment. So we kind of lived on what we call the reduced budget plan.
The partnership is part of a bigger initiative called Joining Forces, which was launched by Mrs. Mullen and Jill Biden, wife of Vice President Joe Biden.
Every day, our military spouses are giving back to this country. While their loved ones are called to serve, they serve right alongside them. Now we must serve them as well as they serve us.
And as for Ms. Hall, her days of moving from job to job are over.
I've worked for CSC, Computer Science Corporation, a global provider of technology-enabled solutions and services for the last 6.5 years, managing CSC's military spouse program. I can't tell you how grateful I am to have been given the opportunity to come to CSC to support this great program. This hasn't been just a job or even a career for me. This has been my passion.
The Military Spouse Employment Partnership builds on the current Army Spouse Employment Program, which to date has about 57 companies participating. Officials at the DoD say already more than a dozen new businesses have committed to the new program. Robert Gordon is Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Military Community and Family Policy. And he says many of the corporations looking to hire military spouses are Fortune 500 plus companies, government agencies, and a host of other organizations all across America.
What the program will do is really bring together our spouses with employers. At the end of the day, we have 1.2 million spouses. 80% of those spouses want to work. But 26% are unemployed, and there's a 25% wage gap between our military spouses and what they make and their civilian counterparts. They are skilled, they're diverse, are team-based, they know how to run teams and operate in a team environment. They work hard, they show up to work on time, and that sort of work ethic, that sort of diversity, that sort of team focus, those are attributes and characteristics that employers are looking for in a 21st century workforce.
For more information about the Military Spouse Employment Partnership, you can head online to ourmilitary.mil.